big breaking story at this hour. Counting is underway in the election to choose the next Vice President of India. The NDA candidate, Jagdeep Dhankar, is expected to sail through with the BJP support alone. The opposition's Margaret Alva looks to be set to be at a distant second, but voting ended at 5 p.m. and results are likely any time now. Well, actually, for more on that, let's go across to Arvind, who's been monitoring the story since the morning. Arvind, when exactly are we expected to know the results?
Sarah, the results for the vice presidential election can be expected any time from now, because the counting got over at around 5 o'clock and the voting got over at around 5 o'clock and the counting process is almost over, and very shortly we can expect the Lok Sabha Secretary General, who is also the presiding officer for the vice presidential election, to give the results, the final count for the vice presidential election. So we can expect the announcement any time now. In all likelihood, in all probability, NDA's vice presidential candidate Jagdeep Dhankar will be the next Vice President of India with a huge margin. That's what we are expecting, because almost 725 MPs out of almost 790 MPs have cast their vote, and with like-minded parties, along with like-minded parties including YSR Congress and also BJD extending support to Jagdeep Dhankar. So it's clear that Jagdeep Dhankar will be sailing through and will be the next Vice President of India. So announcement is expected few minutes from now. Almost 34 TMC MPs, they abstained from voting in the vice presidential election, with TMC saying that they are maintaining an equidistant when it comes to the vice presidential post. So with TMC abstaining and also numbers stacked firmly in the side of BJP, so in all likelihood we can expect the announcement to be made shortly from now, wherein Jagdeep Dhankar will be announced as the next Vice President of India.
All right, Arvind, hold on. We also have Sunil Prabhu. We also have Mah Siddiqui. Everyone on the ground working their sources, monitoring this story. Sunil, to you, what are you hearing? When are we expecting? Of course, no big surprises. So perhaps then what we need to be looking out for is whether the opposition will again be hit by cross-voting as we saw in the presidential elections?
Well, that is something that we'll have to keep a keen eye on in terms of the cross-voting. But having said that, the Prime Minister is all set to call on Mr. Jagdeep Dhankar, who's here. I'm at his residence in his camp office here ever since he resigned as the Governor of West Bengal, to file his nominations as the Vice Presidential nominee for the NDA. So they are expecting that the Prime Minister to be here around 7:30 or so, when he will congratulate along with other cabinet colleagues and wish him the very best as he takes on this constitutional role of being not only the Vice President of India but also the chairperson of the Rajya Sabha. We must remember Jagdeep Dhankar is a lawyer by profession, has played a key role in terms of as a legislator in Parliament as well as, and he's very well versed, and that's why he was handpicked by the Prime Minister, because he wanted somebody who would be able to handle the affairs of the Rajya Sabha. The Rajya Sabha, as you're well aware, has been a house in which there has been lots of ups and downs in terms of support, and it's in that backdrop that they would like to have somebody firm to be able to handle the affairs of the Rajya Sabha and ensure that they get back to business there.
Of course, so Sunil also reporting you're not expecting any surprises if you're saying the Prime Minister is going to call on Mr. Dhankar, the BJP probably beginning its celebrations anyway. But Sunil, were there any surprises today in the voting, in the patterns, in who voted, who did not, why? And of course, the TMC had famously abstained. That had led to many questions being asked about what this means for opposition unity in the run-up to the next elections. But in the end, it seems today some TMC leaders did vote. TMP MPs?
Well, according to what we have told, around 34 of them abstained. So that's, the fact is that I haven't got those statistics, and so I am not able to give you exact details of who voted and who didn't. The fact is that opposition unity has definitely been divided. But as Mr. Abhishek Banerjee, who announced that decision a few days ago when they decided to abstain, making that political point saying that this will not affect the fight against the BJP and that we will remain united. But yes, they were definitely upset with the unilateral announcement of Margaret Alva, and that is why they decided to abstain. Either way, it's been extremely helpful to the BJP-led NDA, which has been able and succeeded in the presidential elections, and we saw there cross-voting taking place. So this time round, if it is on expected lines, they expect some more cross-voting to take place. It will then definitely damage the opposition if that vote percentage of the MPs gets dwindled further. So definitely we will have to look at those statistics and those data that emerges after that official announcement in terms of who exactly voted. This is of course a secret ballot, but you will be able to get an indication of how things are playing out.